We're going to go to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Tudor, thank you for coming here and your candor, and I won't add to your burden, but I do have a couple of questions that we need to look at for kind of long-term policy things. One of the few advantages of being older is that you talk to a lot of people and you remember a lot of things you heard. And one of your predecessors, Mr. Gray, once told me that Interstate 40 between Little Rock and Memphis was designed with the assumption that 20% of the traffic would be trucks and 80% would be cars. And anybody that's ever driven it through the years knows that that's not exactly true. And he even told me that, and this was back when he was director, so it would have been in the early 80s, that they did a survey at I40 and Highway 1 in Forest City, and it was 81% trucks and 19% cars. So it was just the opposite of that. And he added that part of this was because that when the Rock Island Railroad went bankrupt, that the right-of-way reverted to the ownership of the state of Arkansas. And instead of bringing in another railroad to assume that asset, Governor Clinton decided to tear up the tracks and give every little town along the right-of-way that land so they could have a little park in the middle of town. And I'm not against parks, please don't think I am, but about the same time was when FedEx became a major shipping entity, both, of course, we know about the air, but subsequently trucking, and I guess Memphis is probably the biggest intermodal port in the nation that's not on a coast. And I see this, and I'm wondering, did we meaning Tennessee, Arkansas, Federal Highway Administration, did we build a bridge based on those lesser weight and number assumptions that turned out to be not exactly true due to increased traffic from closing of a major railroad and the fact that, but partially because of FedEx, that Memphis became a major trucking hub with a whole lot more than just your usual numbers of traffic. And instead of most of that being cars and people going to Graceland, there are 80,000-pound trucks in very high numbers going over that bridge. Could that have been a contributing factor? And if so, is this sort of the weak point that we're seeing from this additional gross amount of weight and amount of traffic added?
Yes, sir. Our interstate system was not designed to the standards that they're now having to provide service for. And yes, the heavier vehicles are, you know, they do damage to our infrastructure now. And because of those situations where the things are so different now than they were in 1960, and our infrastructure is having to take care of that, but they weren't really designed to take care of that. It's an issue all over the country, but it doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time, and we'll just start seeing, you know, we're just going to have to be really, really careful going forward that we, you know, we keep up with the accelerated damage on the roads because of the additional weight and additional traffic on the roads. And it's just as we move forward, we'll just have to be.
Quick follow-up, Mr. Chairman. Director Tudor, I'm glad you I hate to say confessed to that, but acknowledged what is a fact. But when we go over a road, an interstate highway that, you know, is rough or has a lot of bumps and jars you around, that's an annoyance, but it's not life-threatening usually. Mm-hmm. And these bridges, though, are life-threatening. Do we need to maybe change some priorities as far as our maintenance situation to, you know, while we all want perfectly smooth roads everywhere across the state, we know that, you know, this one is a potentially life-threatening thing. Do we need to reevaluate that whole timetable of maintenance just to kind of emphasize where the danger points might be?
Absolutely, and not that there's ever a good time to face something like this. It just happens to be right before we adopt our budget for July 1st, 2021. So Mike and his group are working with Rex to come up with anything you need. Anything you need to make this a better program, I want to know right now, and we'll put that into the budget. And that will mean money coming from other places. Obviously, there's a finite amount of money. But we are definitely going to invest in this to make this a better program and to take care of our bridges and to make sure they're safe for all public, everyone, commercial motor vehicles as well as passenger vehicles. It's very, very important, and we understand the gravity of this. So, you're welcome.
106, who is that? Representative Kavanaugh?